driver go-to swing. This is probably the most important thing that once you've understood all the mechanics and worked on some of your drills, this swing is going to be the one you take with you to the first tee of a tournament, or even just the first tee if you haven't had time to warm up on the range before your round. It's a swing that you can count on, that no matter what, you're going to control the curve. And it doesn't mean that you're going to hit it perfectly straight. It just means that if there's water on the right, you know that this ball is not going to curve to the right. Or if it's going to curve to the right, and we know that our go-to swing produces a little curve to the right, that's okay. We just know that we can aim left, and it's not going to curve left. It's going to either go straight or potentially curve right, or vice versa. We could have a shot that we know is going to curve left. So to get to a go-to swing, you really have to, A, understand the mechanics or the physics that cause the curve in your ball flight, and B, have enough experience of hitting this go-to shot that you can really trust it in all situations. So in working on grooving a go-to shot, some of that can be done while actually having a pre-shot routine where we would go through our whole pre-shot routine and we would go through and hit our go-to shot. And we're going to talk about that in another video where we talk about pre-shot routine. But when we're just talking about the mechanics or the feel of the go-to shot, we want to create a swing that's potentially 3/4 or a little less than full. We also might consider choking down an inch or an inch and a half on our driver. Because again, the whole purpose of this shot, the whole purpose of our tee shot in general is to get the ball in play consistently. So if we need a go-to shot, it's really not one where we're trying to kill the ball. We're just trying to get it out there solid in play and control the curve. So how do we get a go-to driver shot? Well, basically for myself, I'll choke up about an inch on my driver, especially in a tournament, because the more I choke up, the more leverage I feel like I have on the golf club, the less centrifugal force I think is going to take over coming through impact. So I can really feel like I can maintain alignment coming through impact if I choke up a little bit and I've got a little bit more leverage on my golf club. So my club, this club, is actually 44.5 inches long, which is about an inch and a half shorter than the standard of what they're selling in golf shops today. So I'm already shorter. I'm about an inch and a half shorter than standard, and now I'm choking up another inch and a half. So I'm making this club pretty short, but I'm doing that to ensure center contact and also maintaining my alignments through impact. So that would be step one. Make sure that you're in a position with your grip that you feel secure, that you can maintain the alignments through impact. And then step two would be to have a swing that's not something that's an overpowering swing, or you're not trying to bomb it. You're really just trying to hit solid contact with an accurate ball flight. So that go-to swing for me feels like it's about 3/4, and I'm sure it's much longer than what it feels like, because that's almost always the case. But it feels like I go back to about right there. I have a pause. I definitely feel like I've got a pause there. And then when I turn through, my number one priority is to rotate as fast as I can and turn as fast as I can and maintain the alignments as long as possible. So when I do that with my grip setup, my golf club, my stance, my ball position, when I do all of those things, I get a very consistent either straight or slight fade shot with my driver. And it's not to say that everyone that does the square-to-square swing is going to come up with that same ball flight. It's more to say that when you do this and you consistently practice this kind of 3/4 backswing, choke down on the club, turn back, have a little pause, turn through, you're going to start to find a really consistent ball flight. Whatever that ball flight is for you, that's okay. We just want to know that we've got confidence that it's consistent, that it's going to curve. If it's going to curve at all, it's going to curve left or it's going to curve right. Whatever it does, we've got to know that it's going to do that. And once you have that go-to shot, you can start using that on the golf course. When you see a hole where it's maybe a dogleg right and we know that our go-to shot tends to curve left. So if it's a situation where maybe there's out of bounds on one side or the other, we can guarantee that if we make this swing, the ball's going to curve in a predictable way, and it's going to end up somewhere out there on the golf course. Maybe on a dogleg right, a draw isn't the most ideal shot, but if you can guarantee ball flight and you can guarantee solid contact, then we're at least putting ourselves in position to hit our second shot, and we don't have to worry about hitting a shot out of bounds or into the water or anything like that. So I strongly urge you to work on a go-to shot with the driver. And again, choking up slightly, making a 3/4 swing, having some great rhythm at the top or a little bit of a pause will really help ensure that you can drive through impact without having lost any of your impact alignments.